next for retail media. So if you weren't there, come pick my brains. Some of the predictions did come true, which I'm pleased to say. But I kicked off that talk actually by saying to the crowd, hey, if I drop my mic at some point during this presentation and get the burners on and leave, I apologize in advance. My wife was due that day, and I might have had to run to the hospital. So anyway, no scares like that today. You will hear from me for the full 25 minutes. But this is a pretty accurate picture of my house 12 months later. So this is not my son, but I have a similar looking toddler now shuffling. It's quite funny, he shuffles rather than crawls, but he's in my house, and it's filled with all of these plastic toys. Yeah, it's a mess, to be completely honest, but he loves it, and that's the most important thing. Why am I sharing this with you? This is the kind of clean room I really crave nowadays. Like, look at these plumped cushions and nicely organized magazines. Oh, and even just a clean coffee table is something that I would absolutely long for today. But alas, back to reality. This is now the clean room I get to enjoy and talk about every single day, which is the Amazon Marketing Cloud. So Amazon Marketing Cloud is a clean room, not the type that I would like to see every day, but it is a clean room nonetheless. Let me just start by getting a quick show of hands. I want to get a read of the room. Who in the audience would say they have dipped their toes into AMC so far? So run any queries or even just logged in and looked at the system. Put your hand up. Don't be shy. I need to be able to see it so I get a read. Okay, it's probably like 10, 15% of the room. Okay. Who out of those people would say they use AMC Insights in their day-to-day? Anyone use this on a daily, weekly, frequent basis? Okay. Final one. Who has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about? And this is no shame. I just want to know if anybody's brand new to this topic. Okay, cool. All right. So in terms of what I'm going to talk about today, so for those that are new to this, I'll tell you a bit about what AMC is. But the majority of my talk is going to be around what questions you can get answers to using AMC. I'll share some, what I think are very interesting insights that we've gathered for customers using this amazing tool. And I'm going to end the talk by talking about what I would say is the coolest thing about AMC. And it sounds kind of geeky, I get that, but you can do some very sophisticated media optimization using AMC. And that's something that I care deeply about, so I'll talk a bit about that. And there should be room at the end for Q&A. If there isn't, like I said, I'll be over there for the rest of the day, so come find me. So what is AMC? For those that don't know, this is going to bamboozle you a little bit, but bear with me. So this is a jargon-filled slide. Let me read it to you. Amazon Marketing Cloud is a secure, privacy-safe, and cloud-based cleanroom solution that helps advertisers with measurement and attribution across pseudonymized, I'll test you on that one later, it's hard to say, pseudonymized signals, including Amazon ads and their own data inputs. Now, if you're anything like me, I'd like to break these things down into things that I can understand. So I've tried my best to bring this to life for people that have a simple brain like me. Put it another way. Think of it as a room filled with lots of people inside, and the only way you can get information on who they are and what they've done is to basically submit an anonymous poll. So you can ask them really anything about their journey and what they've done, but it's in an anonymized fashion, so you don't know who's answering. And the other caveat is that you can only get the information out at an aggregate level. So I couldn't say, okay, well, Asher, this is what you did, this is what you did. It's at a group level what you all did. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. So why is this important? Why are people like me on stages every week talking about this topic? It's a data play. I think for a long time, we've talked about the powerful first-party data that Amazon has. In fact, another show of hands. Who in the last 30 days has bought something on Amazon? Right, like pretty much everyone in the world at this point. Amazon knows everything about those users, but people have not been able to get any information on that outside of the Amazon ecosystem. This is the way to access that treasure trove of data and get insights from it. So, what does that mean? What's all the hype about? I'm just going to break this down to what is the most commonly, the reason that certainly in the media sphere we're talking about this a lot. So, This is a really simple example, and it's pretty much what the Amazon world looked like 5-10 years ago, right? So we had users on amazon.co.uk.com. We had the search results page, and you were advertising through sponsored products, maybe sponsored brands, to try and attract people to your product detail page, and then you would hope they would go there and convert, right? And it was really simple, and we were looking at easy to understand metrics like purchase rate, ACOS, conversions, and ROAS. And it worked perfectly well back in those days. It was quite simple. But as any of us that are advertising on Amazon today know, the world's a lot more complicated now. So maybe we're even doing some really cool stuff like running OTT or streaming TV campaigns. More to come on that space next year, by the way. Or some top of the funnel branding, or even just some standard sponsored display and sponsored brand ads. That's part of that same user experience, right? The user doesn't differentiate between these ad types. They come onto the marketplace, maybe they still click a sponsored product ad and they go and buy. The problem is that we've still been looking at these same metrics, though the world has evolved quite significantly. And why there's so much hype about Amazon Marketing Cloud is you can really go, I would argue, way more than 1 or 2 layers deeper, but look into the data to look at metrics that truly represent how media works in combination. So maybe we want to look at which purchases were influenced by top of funnel advertising. Which of my purchases were brand new to brand? I'm doing lots of brand advertising. Who's bought from me for the first time? What's my total customer acquisition cost, and how does that align with lifetime value? What was the path to purchase? What did they see first, and where did they go and convert? How does our media work together? And which cohorts of users come back and buy from us the most frequently? So this can get quite complex quite quickly, but uncovers a wealth of data that Amazon advertisers have never been able to get their hands on, and that's why there's all the hype around this topic right now. So hopefully you can tell that I talk about this a lot, and a question I'm asked a lot is, what are the main use cases? Like, what can I actually do with this data? So I'm going to share with you the 4 most commonly used use cases that we help customers with to maybe give you some inspiration. So the first one is re-engineering last touch attribution. Simply, this has been the biggest issue with digital media, period, for a long time. How do you move away from last touch attribution, which tells a false story of the effectiveness of the advertising you do before the point of conversion? The second is understanding your user behavior on Amazon. What do they do? What do they buy? How often do they purchase? The third is true upper funnel measurement. How does my brand advertising, my reach advertising drive purchase decisions at the bottom of the funnel? And finally, how does my advertising work in unison? So I'm just going to share with you some examples of how you can do all of these things using AMC. I will just caveat and say that, I mean, generally speaking, when we talk about data and analytics, it's a dense topic. So I'm going to try my best to make this simple and give you some examples. Let's see if I do a good enough job at that. So let's start with re-engineering last touch attribution. So, problem. We run ads across lots of ad units, and we're given right now the credit for the conversion to probably the sponsored product ad. Like, that's pretty much the case 99% of the time. But we know that we're running many different types of ads, and they must have had some influence. Perhaps we're seeing total purchases increase. We want to unpick that equation. There's a really simple way to do something, I would say better, but at minimum different to last touch attribution, which we call linear attribution. Linear attribution is the concept of giving equal weighting to each touch point on the journey before they converted. So let's say I run a TV ad, then a display ad, and they converted via sponsored products. Instead of giving 100% of the credit to sponsored products, I give 33% to each. If you do that analysis at an aggregate level, so look at all the path to purchases and fractionally attribute every single touch point in the way I just described, you can spit out something called a linear ROAS or a linear ACOS, which will look different to your last touch ACOS, but in my view, give you a much truer reflection of how your advertising has worked across all funnel stages. Caveat, it is not perfect. In fact, many people have tried to unpick the multi-touch attribution problem for many, many years. And I won't unpick that for you today, but this will do a better job of showing how well your advertising is working than just looking at last touch attribution. there's actually an even simpler way to get some level of insight into how your ads are working together without even doing complicated maths. So this is an example of a query from Amazon Marketing Cloud, which shows all of my sponsored products campaigns and all of the purchases that we've attributed to those campaigns. But alongside it, we have a metric, sponsored product purchases that viewed top of funnel. So this shows, of all the users that converted through sponsored products, how many saw an ad at the top of funnel for a brand ad, display ad, whatever it might be. And in this case, it's a made-up example, but 18.3% of those purchases were influenced by something at the top of the funnel. So we can quite safely say that 1 in 5 purchases were influenced by that ad or that campaign, that media type. It is not super granular, but it at very least says, hey, that ad type is working, and it's at least a touch point on their journey to purchase. So some validation of the media we're running. Again, simple ways to get beyond last touch attribution. Second thing I want to talk about is understanding user behavior on Amazon. This is incredible. You can literally see, again, in an aggregated, anonymized way, but you can see every user journey pre and post purchase across all of your Amazon audience. It's insane. But you can get some really cool information out of this. So this is an example which shows search volume by campaign over a certain time period. So I can use the data in AMC to see what are my users searching for, at what time, and which campaigns are leading them down that path. So rather than just looking at like simple campaign analytics in AMS, this will give you a very accurate view of which specific campaigns are working at what time. And you can work backwards and figure out, well, what's driven that? Did I run some campaign that was trying to drive people to search for our products? Is the search all around, Prime Day that's coming up around the corner? So we can get quite granular here. We can also be high level. So we can just look at individual search terms. So this is an example of a client of ours who bidding on the term weighing scales, and at the start of November, they ran a big branding campaign. And they wanted to see, did people start to search for my products as a result of running that branding campaign? This shows them in clear as day when they overlap the media plan that at the start of November, people started to search for the product. So it's working. Simple stuff that can get you further than you are today. Third example, actually this is probably the most talked about. So upper funnel measurement. Quick show of hands, who's using Amazon DSP today? Cool. What about any other DSP? Anyone done programmatic advertising in the past? Cool, you'll be familiar with this challenge. Like, how do you actually measure whether it's working? It's a little bit like, for anyone that hasn't done it, it's a bit like putting an ad in Times Square. Like, you're obviously reaching a lot more people, but is it really working? We can see to the user level whether it's working or not with Amazon. So I can see users that are exposed to that ad and whether they went and purchased. So in this example, we've had 18,500 conversions via sponsored products in this time period. I ran a streaming TV ad, right? It was to a massive audience, and I know very specifically that 112 people that purchased through SP actually saw that streaming TV ad. It might look like a small percentage, but as a media buyer, that gives you incredible information as to whether you're reaching your target audience. Doesn't just have to be about top of funnel though. See at the bottom here, we have purchasers that viewed bottom of the funnel. So that would be retargeting, right? You viewed my product, didn't buy. 1 in 2 purchases saw that ad at some point before they bought. So like, you're targeting high purchase intent customers, hoping to convert them. This shows it's really working. 1 in 2 saw that ad. I'm going to give you a fun example, actually, from a customer of ours. Anyone use Twitch? Yeah, it's funny when I ask that, people smile if they do. I personally don't, but a lot of people on my team rave about Twitch. Now, it's a very interesting platform for anyone that doesn't. Was a gaming kind of community. It's now spread to all sorts of other types of, I guess, hobbies and interests. Our client wanted to test out running on Twitch. They said, it feels like a good fit for my audience. Let's try and target some users on Twitch. So they ran a pretty small Twitch campaign. This is what the DSP data showed them. So if you look at this, impression volume's really low, CPM's really high, and ROAS is terrible for Twitch. So most media buyers who aren't using AMC would look at this and go, let's turn off Twitch, let's kill it, it's not working. look at it through a different lens, and there's no right or wrong, but look at it through a different lens, and the data is quite interesting. So let me explain what's happening here. This is user journey analytics, where we're looking at the first touch point a user saw and the last one before they converted. These are the top converting paths, which you can see by the conversion rate. The 4 highest converting user journeys for this brand had a Twitch touch point either at the start or the end. So maybe what they're doing with the media isn't working as effectively as it could be, but there's no denying that their audience are on Twitch and they're engaging with their brand and with their product in some shape or form. So it would be a mistake to kill Twitch. And I'm not a media buyer, so a media buyer would probably go a level deeper than this. But this is very interesting insight that will change the way in which they actually figure out their media mix. And the very final thing is ad unit overlap analysis. So we as marketers talk a lot about sponsored products, DSP, sponsored brands. Users on Amazon do not differentiate between those ad units, right? And when we work on them together, we want them to work to effectively, increase the likelihood overall of the user interacting with us or buying our product. So we can look at how much more likely a user is to purchase a product when they see multiple ad types together, how much more likely they are to purchase when they engage with us in the upper funnel. So before I wrap up on the use cases, just one caveat. My talk is about growing on Amazon, but I just wanted to be really clear that AMC is actually not just for people selling on Amazon or just for Amazon brands. There's some really cool stuff you can do with off-Amazon data in AMC. So we have some advanced customers who are joining, for example, their D2C data with the Amazon data within the Amazon clean room. It's a privacy-safe way to do so, remember. And they can see, for example, the customer overlap they have on Amazon with their D2C sites, or people that buy repeatedly on the D2C website, how often buy repeatedly on Amazon? What's the different lifetime value of customers on sites versus on Amazon? So I'm sure a question a lot of people ask me is, should I double down on Amazon or my D2C? This is a really good way to answer that question. And I have no opinion on that other than clearly it helps us if it's Amazon. So what can you do with this data? I want to give you 3 takeaways of actions you can take if you have the luxury of finding someone or having an internal team to use AMC to build the reports I just shared with you. What could you do with the data? So there's 3 things. First one is efficiency adjustments. So you can play with your media strategy to pull back on campaigns that are really working, pull forward on the ones that are. You can boost more money into media that you're seeing is working and pull back on some that is not. Even can get really granular, like frequency capping running through the DSP, or in fact, pulling off advertising on some off-Amazon placements. It can get quite granular. But that's if you have maybe a media agency or an analytics team and a media planning team, they could use this data to, I would say, drive upwards of double-digit efficiencies if they got their hands on this data and used it effectively. And if you're interested in agencies that are experts in this area, come talk to us. We have a bunch of really close agencies that do great things with AMC and Amazon Media. Second one is more informed budget allocation decisions. So you no longer go into your planning ahead of peak events or even at the start of your financial year blind. You can really know whether or not you should invest in a media type and actually how much is worth investing. And then the very final thing is audience creation. For us, this is the lowest hanging fruit. This is all about the first-party data, remember? That's the play, getting the hands on that treasure trove of data. And we can use that to create audiences to go and target. You target them through the Amazon DSP. And these can be as broad or as granular as you like. I'm going to share my favorite 5 examples, which hopefully will resonate with you guys as either Amazon sellers or as advertisers. And this is really easy. Not that everyone can do it, but if you have people that have SQL skills and a media buying team, you should be able to do this. First one is so easy and so powerful. Target your high lifetime value customers. Give them specific messaging. Encourage them to come back and purchase again. You know that these people love your brand. They buy your products all the time. Why would you not try and push them down the repeat purchase journey? Cross-sell, upsell. You can target just those users through your advertising. Really powerful. Second one, anyone that's trying to sell their products on subscribe and save. You can target users that have purchased more than once that have not gone on to subscribe and save. Super low-hanging fruit that can drive up your predictable, repeatable revenue. Third one, added to cart but not purchased. Are you ever going to find lower-hanging fruit or higher intent than that? Actually, just as interesting for many of our clients is people that have added products to their wish list and still not purchased. Not as low-hanging fruit as the intent of just about to purchase, but you know that there's some level of interest and you have the opportunity to re-engage with them. And finally, this is less commonly used, but I think really, really exciting. You can target people that have searched for your brand and not purchased. Just people that search, just to like make that point really clear. They just search for your brand on Amazon. You can go and target them. This is all done through the Amazon DSP, through what we call AMC audiences, okay? And this works. I've heard a couple of talks today. Everyone's, and understandably, says, if I do this, it needs to drive better return on ad spend, more efficiency. We're in a time where profitability is absolutely vital. Fully understand that. Every client we've tested this on, it works with. So here's an example, actually. This is on the Amazon Ads blog, which is awesome. We did 2 tests with Beekeepers Naturals. We targeted users that searched for specific keywords, and we also targeted users that we know had gone down a certain purchase journey that generally was high converting and didn't purchase. The performance was 33% better from a ROAS perspective than all other campaigns that they ran, and they drove way more new to brand purchases. In fact, double, 100% more. And what Daniel Miller says is spot on. This is a huge step for Amazon ads, and it allows us to unlock the power of AMC to directly advance our full strategy, full funnel strategy. Obviously, I'm talking about this because I think we do something that can help people do this really easily. So what we basically do is a lot of the analytics that I've shared with you, we can do for you through our dashboards. So we plug in your advertising accounts, and we spit out dashboards, and we provide analyst support to help you uncover insights from the data. We can also help you set up some of those audiences if you're running Amazon DSP, or if you're looking to get into the Amazon DSP, we can help, or again, we have great agencies that can, agency partners that can do this for you. So with that, if you remember nothing else from today, I think 3 things. 1, there is just enormous power in this data. You can start really simple. Just think about things like attribution. There is a query library in AMC, so you can literally grab the code. If you don't need to be a SQL engineer to do this, grab the code and pull some of that data and start to get your hands on it. You'll be surprised about what you can uncover and get from 0 to 1. You don't have to get to 100. 0 to 1 will give you a nice start. If you want to go beyond 1, the most intelligent way to use the data, in my opinion, is audiences. The first-party data that Amazon have is incredible. Use it to your advantage. Use it for targeting. Increase your likelihood to purchase and convert. And yeah, you can get the kind of results that Beekeepers did that I shared with you earlier. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you in 12 months' time with a slightly cleaner living space and maybe even some fun use cases from this room on AMC. So with that, I'm just going to check whether I have any time for questions. No? Okay, no time for questions. We're over there, that big purple booth. Come chat to me or any of the team, and thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.